Well, hello, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining my session. Really great to see so many smiley faces. Recognize a few MSPs and SMBs as well. So today I'll be sharing some best practices that you can implement to safeguard your business and prevent hackers from exploiting your infrastructure. Okay, so let's take a look at how to stop hacks in their tracks with improved IT visibility. My name is Max Schulberg. I'm a senior account manager at Kaseya, and we are one of the leading providers of IT management and security solutions for the multifunctional IT professional. So Rapid Fire Tools and IT Glue are two of the solutions that I'm going to focus on today. And I'm going to walk you through how to get a 360-degree view of how cyber defenses work and how to understand everything about your network infrastructure and IT assets, and how to defend your network from being exploited by identifying and addressing IT issues and weaknesses before they can be exploited, and how this ties into our IT complete vision. Okay? With cyber attacks on the rise, the likelihood of security breach occurring is no longer a matter of if, but when. Okay? If you haven't fallen prey to a security risk already, count yourself lucky. All right? However, your luck probably won't last long, because especially if you fail to detect and mitigate security risks in a timely manner. Let me cover a little bit about the essential need for security in today's current threat landscape. 83% of companies have experienced a breach. It can take over 277 days to contain a breach. So that puts a lot of stress on the small to mid-sized business, and a lot go out of business because of this. With a record number of vulnerabilities being reported every day, IT professionals must be prepared to reduce the risk as threats of today cyber world accelerate. Okay, so I want you to try and think about, you need to ask yourselves, do you have a documented plan for when a security incident occurs? Organizations like yours are subject to a wide range of attacks of all types and from everywhere. We see these common issues. You can't expect to de-risk your business or your customers' businesses if you're not improving processes, technology, and people. It's now more important than ever to remediate and contain identified vulnerabilities quickly before they're exploited by hackers. So SMBs are vulnerable to cyber attacks because they often choose defense systems that are free, and they're designed for regular consumers. So despite the growing number of attacks against organizations, defenses have not kept up with the complexity of numbers of attacks. So as you know, working from home, hybrid office working, it adds its own complexities. The bad guys are exploiting this. Developing companies are now faced with a frequency of attacks now on par with large enterprises. But typically do not have the layers of security to withstand the barrage of attacks. So we at Kaseya think that the NIST cybersecurity framework is a great place to start and lays out everything you need to cover. It is widely considered to be the gold standard for building a cybersecurity program. It factors 5 core functions for managing cybersecurity events and minimizing the impact of cybersecurity incidents. Let's start with identify. So knowing where these assets are, understanding what's on the network, and running regular risk assessments in the identify category should you develop the organizational understanding structures, policies, processes to manage cybersecurity risk to the network. You can't protect what you can't see. But it's also important to document along the way to help build up a bigger picture of your IT environment. Tools like Rapid Fire Tools and IT Glue help MSPs and IT professionals in the identify function to understand every risk on their network. So how do you know if your systems are safe if you're not looking on a regular basis? A failure in IT is usually caused by a lack of information or visibility into what's actually happening. We see 3 recurring scenarios after you run a Rapid Fire Tool scan. Employees have access to systems that they're not supposed to. The software we see employees running after hours is shown to open up security loopholes. And lastly, Credit card information, social security numbers, or other PII information have been identified on end user systems when they shouldn't be there. Unfortunately, users do things that are unpredictable. We're fighting things that are out of our control. We're fighting things that are out of our control, right? So you can't assume the network is the same you left it either. To reduce the likelihood of a data breach, IT professionals like you must be aware of the constant changes that represent threats in the network environment that you manage. You need tools that give you IT X-ray IT vision, so you can get a view beyond the surface of your IT environments with the right tools. You can easily identify security gaps and risks and implement basic cybersecurity programs to harden your network. Best practices to avoid cyber attacks largely focus on taking a proactive stance before an attack becomes a threat by preparing employees, systems, and procedures. You can prevent a breach or minimize the next time the effort it takes to recover from one. Rapid Fire Tools offers a suite of software modules that give IT professionals the network visibility they need to address hidden user and computer issues before they become big problems. Reduce risk by discovering hidden internal and external network vulnerabilities. And lastly, detect hidden internal threats caused by unauthorized network changes and unexpected user activities. Our products are VolScan, Network Detective Pro, and also CyberHawk, which I'll go into and introduce now. They work either alone or as a powerful stack combined. Okay, so it's all tightly integrated to reduce the risk and drive efficiencies. Automating your vulnerability scanning is necessary to catch security risks as they arise, to protect your business and reduce the likelihood of a breach. Not only is regular internal and external vulnerability scanning a must-do in today's threat landscape, it's also mandated by GDPR, and therefore falls within the NIST. If you're like most organizations, you probably don't perform vulnerability scanning. While the reasons for this vary, it often comes down to being either too costly or overly complicated to set up, configure, and manage. So continuous vulnerability scanning can help you reduce exposure, catch issues, and allow technicians to begin the process of remediating vulnerabilities before that they can be exploited. So we help discover hidden IT risks and issues before they become big problems. A comprehensive network assessment gives you full visibility into your organization's network to build a proactive security strategy against external cyber attacks, as well as end-user vulnerabilities. So network assessments expose cyber security loopholes in your local network, in the cloud, and on the devices that connects remotely. A regular automated assessment also allows you to keep an eye on everything, enabling you to optimize network health and defenses. If an insider threat is left undetected, it can compromise an organization's system and data. Detecting internal threats early is crucial. It's important to implement a strategy that you can help quickly identify internal threats so that you can act in a timely way when necessary. So 72% of all cybersecurity incidents today are the result of internal security issues inside the network firewall, a common mistake primarily focusing on perimeter defenses. So we can automatically scan your networks on a regular basis to identify and address hidden threats. The final best practice you should be implementing to achieve full IT network visibility is IT documentation. To understand everything that occurs within your IT infrastructure, documenting applications, networks, devices, passwords, and other IT assets in a structured, automated, and standardized manner makes critical information accessible and secure. Who has IT Glue or Rapid Fire Tools? Can you put your hands up? It's most of us, right? Which ultimately reduces time waste by 50%. So integrating documentation with other tools that you ensures a single point of truth. While you have a visual summary of your entire network, you can identify issues more effectively and troubleshoot them instantly. So you'll have assurance that all this knowledge is documented within the business and not in people's heads. So there's no single point of failure and your data is all backed up. You'll also be able to spot weak links faster and keep your data safe and secure. So I'm going to go into the rapid fire tool on IT Glue integrations. So scan data from Network Detective Pro assessments, they automatically sync within IT Glue. You will soon discover new users and changing assets internally as all this information is documented in IT Glue. You can identify weaknesses within your business ahead of an audit, as well as finding and documenting new revenue streams, such as project work, to help your customers tighten up their issues. This standardization means no matter which technician is servicing your clients or your internal business compliance, they will be able to find the information the same way every single time. So going back to the NIST CSF, effective cybersecurity begins with identify and assess. You cannot protect what you can't see, so having IT Glue and rapid fire tools means you can identify every weak link on every asset, remediating issues quickly with the risk of exploits, fast access to data and trend, and technical and non-technical reporting. So this is information to help you understand so you can plan for the worst case. So our technology stack is fully workflow integrated, where each tool connects through our integration hub to provide deep, meaningful, functional connection to common tasks. So we have an IT Complete platform which has over 160 high-value workflow integrations to save the technicians hours every single day. We have about 300,000 daily users in IT Glue alone. So it's all to aid the multifunctional technician, which is jumping between. So unlike an enterprise IT team, where you may have specialized people to perform backup, a team for compliance, a team for documentation, IT professionals, they need to do it all. So they're bouncing back and forth across dozens of application interfaces and vendors, and inevitably lose a ton of time and some of your sanity just in the process of juggling all of this. If this accurately portrays your business, you should come speak to us. The impact of all that bouncing around different software of having to do it all manifests in 4 critical areas: vendor fatigue, lack of technician efficiency, limited software utilization, and limited software budgets. These 4 things are what happens when a do-it-all IT professional has to get IT done on a limited budget or resource. So let's talk about it. It's not just the tools, it's what comes with them. So in terms of vendor fatigue, every tool requires a commercial relationship to a vendor, along with a full burden of managing it. From contract negotiations, different licensing schemes, different account managers, invoices, release schedules, and more. It can be overwhelming just to deal with the vendors. Tools that don't work together end up working against the technician, because they're not integrated tools, and they drag the technician down. Tools from separate vendors are not fully integrated either. Instead of offering basic data exchange or API calls that inevitably fail to perform or break, as neither party is invested in maintaining the functionality in a long-term priorities change. So we see poor utilization, functions don't get used, and duplicate tools exist. With dozens of new releases per year across dozens of tools that you use, it's impossible to keep up with the latest functionality. Most technicians fail to use more than 30% of the functions due to lack of awareness. And lastly, limited budget. So every tool comes with a cost, and more businesses don't have the budget flexibility to invest in all the tools they would ideally require to get the job done. So every pound spent unnecessarily on tools is a pound lost in profit, or spent unnecessarily on tools is a pound lost in profit. So we tackle vendor fatigue with a single, complete, and commercially integrated platform. We tackle the lack of technician efficiency with a fully technically integrated and automated solution. And we tackle limited software utilization with an intelligent AI that guides your use. And lastly, we tackle limited budgets by being priced right, affordable to those without massive budgets, right? So IT Complete is fully workflow and commercially integrated. It provides a single point of contact. It's a unified billing invoicing system with one access point to all applications within a single sign-on and streamlined contracts to keep you focused on the business. So it really is one place for everything. So most IT teams have as many as 16 different pieces of software to manage every single day. So IT teams don't have the resources for specialized personnel. Every technician needs to be multifunctional. IT teams don't have the resources for specialized personnel to cover the ever-expanding needs that they have. So Kaseya has built automations and integrations between products like rapid-fire tools, you've seen IT Glue, and other Kaseya suites like Unitrends Backup, Dark Web ID, to increase productivity and save time and costs. Workflow automations increase technician efficiency and increase software utilization as well. Thank you very much for your time, and make sure you check out our booths.